Good morning. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us for another edition of the Morning Breeze, man. Always rocking with you guys, as always, man. Outside of me, I got my guy, Mr. Media himself, Jordan JC, in the building.
Another day, another 50 cents, ladies and gentlemen. How are y'all feeling out there? Yeah, they pay me for this sometimes. Let some of the commenters get a hold of it. I'm one view away from panhandling. That's
oh my God.
I scratched my head this morning. Dang it, I got a lot going on. Breeze Nation, what's good? It's your boy Beth the Designer back at it again. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. As always, got a lot to talk about on today's show. Taking a look at the second round picks, especially Luther Burden, all remain unsigned. But is there a much bigger story here that we need to be paying attention to? Seems like this could be a theme of the offseason for not only the Chicago Bears, but for the NFL as a whole. Also, George JC, Billy Donovan will not leave.
Yeah, it's obvious.
Per Mark Stein, sounds like the Chicago Bulls are working to get an extension done for Billy Donovan. He'll be here for our foreseeable future.
Ever.
Ladies and gentlemen, the date is 6/16/2025, 7:04 in the morning. And Jordan JC, I hear the Birds are safe.
We came to an agreement, unlike the second round.
There's an amicable agreement now that the Birds are paying rent and doing fine over there.
Yeah. We came to a collective bargaining agreement, a collective burdening agreement.
Collective burdening agreement.
That's right. Yeah. They'll shut up from 6 to 7 a.m. in the morning.
All that
I'll
more.
let them chirp the rest of the night.
All that more today's episode, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do.
Come on. Push the button. Come on. Push the button. Come on, push the button.
Yeah, come on, push your button.
You heard what she said.
Y'all heard what Sue Young said. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. JC, how you feeling, my guy?
Oh, feeling good, man. It's another week, another Monday, but man, I'm like going to my job and getting paid. Some of these guys are not, and I don't know what's going on with this contract situation.
Dog, listen, it's such a weird. It's such a weird situation that the NFL is in this year because I feel like their whole point has been to prove that we are the boot and you are the ones that will be getting kicked. The Shedeur Sanders situation, what we're seeing with the second round picks here, it literally just feels like at every turn the NFL is like, hey, we want you to know we're the ones in charge. What you're doing has no bearing on any of the Shamar Stewart situation. Yeah. It's a weird offseason for the young players.
It feels like there's a rift between the old school and the new school mentality. NFL is obviously, ran by a lot of, maybe aged owners. And I feel like it's their way of saying, hey, we still have, the control. We still have the bigger piece of the pie in a sense, despite all of this, we know this new generation, they're getting paid in college off of NIL deals. Even college coaches didn't like it at first, like when they started getting paid certain money and there were certain stipulations. Like this, younger athletes have more control, they have more say, and we're seeing it around the league. But I mean, this whole, and especially second rounders, this whole second round like theme of contracts not being signed is kind of odd to me. But I mean, I know we'll do a deeper dive into it right now, but it just all feels very weird, and it's like, well, get with the times. I guess that's my overall running theme right now is get with the times. Like that's why a lot of these players don't have a problem with holding out and speaking up, like versus like the years past, where it was just say, hey, just be grateful that you're coming into the league, take your contract. Don't even gloss over it and just play football. Like we're the ones in charge here. So no, those days are gone.
Yeah, it's and what JC speaking on with the second round picks. We are now 7 weeks after the NFL draft. Going in, actually, this is the 8th week after the NFL draft. And most of the 257 draft picks have agreed to terms, but there are 40 selections who still have not signed their rookie deals as of yet. Of those 40 unsigned players, 30 of them were taken in the second round. This problem stems from 2 fully guaranteed contracts being given out in the second round to the first and second pick of the second round. And now the lawyers, now the agents are basically going to every team and saying, we're not signing a contract that is not a guaranteed contract, and we're going to go through every bit of language and yada, 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 because you don't want to fully guarantee this. Well, we're going to make sure that our client gets the best situation that he is in, which is fine. I get it. But I'll ask you this, Jordan, JC, and Chad, I'll ask you this as well. By the way, hit that like button if you have not done so. Subscribe to the page. Is there any concern that this lingers on? Because I know we don't have anything to worry about pretty much until training camp, which is 6 weeks away. So there's a ton of time to get things done. But this almost feels like a CBA feel, right? This almost feels like a union feel. Don't be the one to cross the picket line, because you're going to mess up the money for everybody else. And that's a tough situation to be putting these young players in 7 weeks into the NFL career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it does put them in a really tight situation. But I mean, you see some of the players around the league that are ready to take their stand. And specifically, you look at the Cincinnati situation with the holdout of Shamar Stewart. We joke about the fact that maybe he doesn't have a leg to stand on because this man only put up 4 sacks in his college career. But I mean, even you talked about, man, you look at the language in his contract negotiation, you give him a clap and a kudos for standing tall, because it is ridiculous. Certain things like, if he has some sort of like injury, or if there's like I believe what was it, like
detrimental to the team?
On field reasons, or
that he gets suspended or anything. Yeah,
it's like they can void all of the guaranteed money. And so does that have an effect on how all these other players are looking at their contracts? What does the language in their contract say? That could be the issue. And so again, you've set a standard now when you've signed those 2 players in the first two picks in the second round to guaranteed money. Now it's like, okay, well, we want to follow suit. What makes us any less, worthy of getting that type of contract? And it's the same thing what we see around the league. When you have a superstar player who is requesting, big money or his next deal when negotiations, they're going to compare you to, your value and where you are in the crop of all the other better players. So, a la like Jalen Johnson's contract, even though it was a friendly deal. We talk about some of the top cornerbacks in the league when he got $19 million. You had Jair, you of course got your Jalen Ramseys, you got your Derek Stingley's. Like, he's right in that same breath as those guys. So you're going to say, okay, well, let's look at their contracts. So it's the same thing. You got a match for match in a sense. And so even though these rookies haven't played a snap, they're still deserving of a contract. Again, like I said, today is a new day. It's a new dawn. It's been like that for a minute now. And I think that the NFL has to get with the times in a sense. I don't think it's on the players to adjust. I think it's on the owners and the NFL to adjust.
So do you think we're heading for a holdout, though? Because that's where it gets tough, right? Like, I mean, again, you're going to have, second round picks who are going to say, I'm not going to cross. I'm not going to. We've got our line drawn in the sand, and I want guaranteed money. I think that I'm that good. You're giving fully guaranteed money to these 2 guys, and I feel like I'm better than he is. and you feel like I'm better than he is. And the one thing I will say is, right, like even with the Shamar Stewart situation, even though he's a first-round pick, having a leg to stand on, the leg to stand on is, well, you thought I was better. That's why you picked me.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you didn't move up. That's why you didn't go out there and try and get him. You thought I was better at this position. So if you thought I was better, you should give me the money that I'm looking for in this situation, which again is, you've got a couple of teams who didn't follow suit that I think is a little bit of a concern there. And now I think with the Bears situation and kind of just making this Bears centric, it's not just Luther Burden. It is Ozzie Trapillo, who has not signed. It is Shamar Turner, who has not signed. You've got 3 second-round picks on this team, 3 players that are supposed to be impact pieces on this team, one of which we've talked about is the possibility of being the starting left tackle on this team.
Mm-hmm.
And none of these guys are willing to really go in there and get this deal done. I think this could be something that ends up lingering towards training camp, because outside of the 2 that have already signed, this was a story 3 weeks ago. This was a story that Mike Florio was talking about. Mike Florio brought this up on Pro Football Talk. He brought this up 3 weeks ago, and then he wrote about this on Friday. I don't think this is something that we can say is just going away. I don't think this is something that we can say the NFL, these contracts always take long. This will be fine. There's no worries on this. I think that this is something that could linger much closer towards training camp. And then you have to start to look at the situation and try and figure out, okay, like now we've got guys who Luther Burden he was just missing, not because of the contract. I saw some people speculating that he was trying to hold out during mandatory minicamp. Wasn't the case at all. He actually was banged up because the other 2 guys were out there as well. And you saw Ben Johnson continually say he's here. He's just in the training room getting work done and yada, yada, yada. But I think this could get to the point where we're into getting towards training camp and you've got a real holdout situation on your hands, because none of these guys are going to want to be the ones who cross the line. And now I don't even know if this is between second-round picks and Ryan Poles. I think this is now between the agents trying to get the best deal for their clients and the GMs that are in place trying to get these contracts done.
Yeah, no, this could be unprecedented. I totally agree with you that I do believe that there could be a standoff. And the one biggest reason why is because, in my opinion, there's just no lack of fear anymore. And I go to that as the simple answer because, again, back in the day, it was like just shut up and come into the league. Be grateful, be thankful that you have a chance to play in just the greatest sport of all time. And so, I think that issue is being kind of swept in a sense under the rug, because now you're having all of these players have a voice, and then it's a trickle down effect. It's like, okay, well, I see my guy over here, taking a stand, like we mentioned with Shamar Stewart. Well, in this case, I'm going to be taking a stand until my contract language changes, or if it doesn't, well, okay, I'm just going to be sitting over here. It's one of those situations where you're not scaring the players. These rookies aren't afraid to speak up. These rookies aren't afraid to say, I am going to hold out. Now, I don't think there's anything personal about it, because of course these players, it's not like they hate Ryan Poles or anything of that nature. But like you said, it could be a situation where their agents, are trying to get their best deals. They're trying to make sure that, hey, they're set up for success. So even if there is a little glitch here or a glitch there, they can still get paid, because ultimately that's what you want to do from your job. You don't want to come to work one day and you make a mistake. It's like, oh, well, you're not getting a check for the rest of the year. Like, what are you talking about? No, I still deserve some sort of payment. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, this doesn't necessarily have to drag out. But I think the pride of the owners, the pride of the NFL is where it could be a problem. I think that's what's going to get in the way. The pride and the arrogance of how it's been done for so long is going to get in the way of how it should be done now. This is, again, new generation, new day. And so we'll see. But I think pride and also fear are going to be the 2 reasons why this could, not get done quickly.
I wonder if there's a little bit of pushback here too. And I was trying to find this story. I remember this came out during the season. Remember they were talking about how, essentially the NFL went to different agents during the Super Bowl and basically was like, leave these dumb teams alone. You guys are taking advantage of these teams and you're giving them these lists of coaches and they're following this certain list because they've got new GMs and new stuff in place. Leave these mugs alone. I do wonder if this is kind of like a dig at the agents to try and get back in a way and say, look, we're not going to make this easy for you. I know we want to get things done, but we're not going to make this easy for you. We've kind of drawn our line in the sand. And I think I'll say this, like, I think you're right in the sense of, I don't know if this will happen in the Bears situation, which I think that is what we care the most about. But I do wonder if you get a situation where some of these guys do hold out heading into the season, or the talk around Shamar Stewart is he may go back into the draft next year. Basically, just pull out, just void the contract and say, it is what it is. Wait a year and go back into the draft next year. Now, I don't think that's the logical situation.
That would be crazy.
You don't see one. I think then the 4.5 sacks come into play. Right now, he's got the Bengals. Well, you believed in me enough with my 4.5 sacks because you thought I was a workout warrior. So right now, he's got the Bengals. There's nothing they can do. Next season, I think that the 4.5 sacks would come into play if he were to go back into the draft. But I do wonder if there are some players who say, look, like, I'm trying to do this for the betterment of the players. And to me, this is why just everything should be slotted. There should be no options. There should be no language. It should be boom, this contract is this.
Just very simple to the point.
The first round.
Are you saying depending on the rounds, right?
The first round is.
Yeah.
The first round is slotted. There are no contract negotiations. This is the contract you get. You could change certain things in the language, right? You could change certain things to be like, well, you can get this money then and this money now, and this thing can happen. But like, for the most part, we knew what Caleb Williams was going to make the second he was drafted.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this with second round, third round? Just slide it all the way down. It's not like you're going to pay a 7th round pick $5 million. Like there's the situation that is being created from this. And again, this goes back to, getting stuff done with the CBA and stuff like that to make this happen. But like, I haven't seen many 2nd round picks who get contracts negotiated more than top 10 picks. So like, why are we negotiating deals here?
Yeah.
Get the deal done. Not now, because what you've created now is this situation where somebody can get a fully guaranteed contract. And now the rest of the 2nd round picks are going to say, well, I want one too. And I deserve one too, because you took me in the 2nd round, just like you took him in the 2nd round.
Yeah. I love Bears Junkie's comment here. It says, I think it's a huge difference. I think the Bears are negotiating in good faith and the Bengals are not. Very good comparison. Actually, there's an article that talks about even in the past, there were a few players who were kind of disappointed and kind of, I believe, even traded or didn't even want to deal with the Bengals after a certain point. I believe Jesse Bates, the third, he left in 2023 after contract disputes and went to the Falcons. And so, yeah, there could be some of that, and we know Ryan Poles, again, we've seen it, whether it be on Hard Knocks, we've seen through the years that Ryan Poles does act in good faith. That's one thing we can say as far as our GM is, there's no foolishness going on there. There's no, taking advantage of his players or any weird stipulations where it's like, hey, if he treats his players well, he makes sure that they're taken care of, whether it be contract negotiations or even in trades. We've seen that with Ryan Poles. So I don't think that's an issue here. I think it's just a matter of, hey, the players are seeing what's going on around the league and they just want, to be fairly compensated. That's all I think it is.
Yeah, listen, and I think that is the biggest difference, and maybe it's why I have the least amount of concern here. Like the video, if you agree, like if the one thing we can give Ryan credit for is we've killed him for a bunch of stuff, right? Sending Caleb out there, no offensive line last year, keeping Flus on, yada yada yada. We ain't gonna go through the whole list. He's been killed for all of these things that we look at, that he's done as a GM. You can't kill him for his at all for how he's handled contracts.
Mm-hmm.
And how he's made trades. And he hasn't made a trade of a player yet that has put that player in a worse position. And that includes Chase Claypool. He traded Chase Claypool to a playoff team.
Miami, right?
Like, go prove yourself there. Miami.
Yeah.
Traded Justin Fields to the Steelers. Like, traded Roquan Smith to the Ravens. Like, the one thing you can say about Ryan Poles that I do think is the biggest difference maker, and why I feel like, not to say that like the Bears are going to be the one where somebody crosses the line first, or but I do think it's kind of, all right, look, we're not going to give you a fully guaranteed contract like these guys, but this is how we can make this work for you. Let's do this, and this, right? Like, it's the one thing about Ryan Poles that you do have faith in, is he's going to make the money work. And he's really, really good at making the money work. And I think that that's the biggest difference here. Then, and again, you look at a Bengals situation, you got to think there's some people who Trey Hendrickson is being represented by, who probably are being represented by some of those rookies there. And it's like, hey, look, like, we're not playing games with y'all. We're done with y'all. Y'all either going to sign these deals or y'all going to have no team next season. Have fun getting Joe Burrow killed. It's weird, though, with the Bengals, because it's all defensive players. They sign all the offensive players all they want.
They did, yeah. It's like, is there something going on with that?
It almost feels like,
or is it just by circumstance?
We actually don't want a defense that's going to be good. So we'll see what ends up happening there, man. Hit that like button if you have not done so. Subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. We will keep the conversation going on the other side of this. But first, ladies and gentlemen, that's right, back yet again. Got to tell you guys all about Factor. Breeze Nation, we're going to take a quick break in the action to let you guys know about today's sponsor on this episode, Factor. Listen, y'all already know with how busy my lifestyle is right now, whether it's just living life or being with the family or hosting the Breeze, I don't have time every single day to get in the kitchen and cook something, and that's where Factor comes in. This season, they make things simple and easy with healthy eating delivered right to your front doorstep. Last night, I enjoyed the grilled filet mignon and creamy Parmesan shrimp. As you can see on the screen, it was absolutely delectable. And this morning, I enjoyed a smoothie to get the day started right. That's because Factor is giving you everything you need for your active lifestyle, including Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, and more styled meals. It's not just dinners either. We're talking breakfasts, lunches, snacks, and guilt-free desserts. So what I need you guys to do is go to factormeals.com/breeze50 off. Use the code breeze50 off for 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Again, that's breeze50 off at factormeals.com/breeze50 off. Healthy eating delivered right to your front doorstep. Now let's talk more football. Breeze Nation, what is good? It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Ladies and gentlemen, we got merch. That's right. New website, new merch, all out. We've been telling you guys to pull up on us. Now you can at twcbreeze.com, where you can find out all of the latest stuff going on. What all can they find there, Super Producer?
Listen, you can join the nation, sign up to our mailing list, and be up to date for events and news. You can also visit the shop page and order merch, because we have t-shirts, we got hoodies, we got mugs, we got hats, we got all kind of stuff. So, hey, we appreciate you being tuned in with us. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube page and follow us on all our socials. Check us out at twcbreeze.com.
He's way too excited.
I am.
We got merch. We got
Transylvania. Going to suck your blood. Background music.
Hey, Lil Wayne rapped on that on the Carter 6, man. What you talking about?
Oh, did he? Yeah, I guess that's why I didn't listen to it. Oh, boy.
Yeah, Lil Wayne was spitting on that.
Yeah, was it Mike Tyson? Thing? That's what it is.
Right now? Did you just say Joel's beat was pure and utter domination?
No.
Thank you. Oh, God.
Talking about the Carter 6. Jesus.
Welcome back. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love, man. Hit the like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Just talked about the Chicago Bears going out there, and could there be some contract troubles with the team? Again, I don't think that it's going to be anything crazy for this Bears team, but I mean, you could head into a holdout situation just because of the brotherhood of football that does come into play. It seems like you got a lot of young pieces right now in the crosshairs between agents and GMs, and the agents and GMs beef is a beef that seems to never stop. Let's keep this thing moving along, George JC. Something that else I want to touch on today that I thought was very interesting is it was a tough weekend for the Chicago Bulls. You get I mean, I guess in theory, maybe not in how they think. But
they don't care.
You see the Desmond Bain deal go down.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
4 first-round picks,
5,000 first-round picks given.
Which you thought could have been the Kobe White deal, possibly. Now I don't know about that many first-round picks, but you thought there could be a Kobe White trade there. You also saw a report from Mark Stein that the Chicago Bulls are looking to bring back Billy Donovan, and that in the long run, that Billy Donovan will yet again get an extension. At least, Jordan JC, they are at least announcing that Billy Donovan will probably be extended here in Chicago this time. Because remember last time, we only found out Billy Donovan had an extension when Kentucky was like, hey, how many years you got left on your contract? We would love to sign you to a deal here. And it was like, well, actually, he's been extended 5 years. What? He's been what?
Yeah. Where'd that come from? All these under the table discussions.
2 years into the deal already.
Jesus, man. It's utterly ridiculous, man. I don't get what they see in retaining this. Well, I'm not going to go that far. I was going to say it's almost like the Bears when they retained Matt Eberflus. I'm not going to go that far, but in a sense, it feels like, well, are you looking for better? And what's weird is I believe he was one of the coaches that the New York Knicks, after firing Tom Thibodeau, they were interested in bringing him along. I'm like, is there something about Billy Donovan that I don't see? Because I understand he's a good young players coach. He's been a very, very elite and Hall of Fame college coach. But I mean, under the Bulls regime, he's been under 500 for quite some time now. I think his overall record as an NBA coach, 10 seasons, 438 and 362. So it's a little bit of a 54 win percentage. But with the Bulls
here, and he's still dominant.
Yeah, 195 and 205. So you're right there at the half point mark. So he's trying to get to that 50%. So my thing is, what is it that you see in Billy Donovan that allows you to continue to retain him and want to have him here? Because for me, I feel like there's levels to this. There's levels to coaches, there's levels to players. And I feel like you've paired Billy Donovan and he's maximized his potential as a coach here with the players that we've had, whether it be when it was with Zach LaVine and DeMar and that version of the Bulls and Vooch. You've seen what he can do. And it's like it plateaus at what, 8th, 9th, 10th seed in the Eastern Conference. So are we saying that we're okay with that? And of course, you already know how Reinsdorf is. He don't care about bringing in the best of the best.
They just love to have a nice suit.
Let's just have a nice suit. Let's get these arenas filled. Let me give him money, and I'm on to the next.
I love a good clam chowder.
That's what he eats. I thought it was oatmeal or something. All right.
I love a good clam chowder.
But my thing is like, I have no real like crazy issue with Billy Donovan. It's just that I want better now. Like we're finally committing to a young team after so many years of complaining about it as a fan base. That you got your 3-headed monster, but it's not working. And Zach LaVine is your best player, but you've seen him kind of be the 2B when it comes to stars. He's not the guy. He can't take you over the hump. I feel like that's the same with Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan
is the 2B.
He's like the 2B star. Like
2B is like the 4th best player on the team.
Or 2A, like 1A would be LeBron. He's your 2B. Or if he's on the Golden State Warriors, he's behind Stephen Curry. So my thing is he's that second player on a really good team that you can rely on. He's not going to ever be that guy. He's proven himself to not be. Very good 3-level scorer. But my point is that's the same, and I feel like the level of coaches. Billy Donovan is that type of coach where he works well with the players. Very good vocal coach. Has some decent plays that he can draw up. He got some good stuff, but I feel like he's never been able to take a fully developed, star-studded team to the next level. He had that chance with OKC. It didn't work out. And then now, ever since with the Bulls, he's gotten younger players. They've had an issue with development from time to time. And so I feel like there's a plateau. Why are you not looking for better? You got Tom right there. I'd rather bring back Tom, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm good on Tom.
No, bro, I'm telling
good
you.
on Tom.
Knicks fire him after getting them to the Eastern Conference Finals
because they were already
bring him back.
They were already going to fire him.
Well, they're
like,
stupid.
They were already going to fire him. He basically had to win a championship to not get fired, and even then, they might have fired him still.
That's crazy.
Here's my thing, and y'all know I'm not a Billy fan. I never have been. I've always said I don't think that he gets the most from the talent that he has, and you've lost quite a bit. There's only one name out there, and Nova just hit it right on the head, that I would replace Billy Donovan for, and it's Taylor Jenkins. Because Taylor Jenkins legitimately was fired after basically struggling and still having a winning record without his star player on the court for most of that, because Ja Morant wanted to go with the gunplay. Like, to me, you have a lot of coaches in the NBA that are exactly the same right now. Billy Donovan is Mike Budenholzer. Billy Donovan is Mike Malone. Billy Donovan is all of these guys who had a really, really, really elite player that got you to the NBA Finals and got you over the top. There is nothing that any of them do that is special. When you take away the star players, when you take away the elite players, guess what? They lose. They are not Eric Spoelstra. They are not Tyronn Lue. They are not the tops of the tops. Heck, I'll throw Rick Carlisle in there now. They're not. There's a bunch of names out there that are dudes that are just being passed around this league like a choose words wisely here. Choose the words wisely. That are being passed around this league like an enjoyable there's no good way to say it. There's no good way to I try. You know what I'm implying here.
Yeah, all right.
Like that's all this is. Monty Williams, throw him in there. Love Monty Williams as a coach. He putting you over the top.
He had his chances.
You know what I mean? And so I think that's the thing to me where when I look at Billy, there's not a lot of people that I would care to replace him for, because I don't want you to go out there and just get different. I want you to go out there and get better. Now, to me, Taylor Jenkins is better. But I will say, I think the Bulls are at a point where, and I've said this many times, I think they're trying a succession plan thing here, like what we saw in Boston. Now, there's a lot more winning in Boston. But I think that they're trying to do the, Billy, you remain the coach, you get this team back on track, and then we will move you into the front office and we will bring up X, Y, and Z to be the next head coach of the Chicago Bulls. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where I think this all is heading towards. But to me, like, extending them, it is what it is at this point. I kind of saw this coming. I didn't think that there was somebody else that you were going to go out there and get for the Bulls. And the Thibs thing, to me, like, I get Thibs, like the nostalgia of it and the fact that he does end up getting winners.
Yeah.
But I don't think the retread is the answer here either. And you don't have a team that's built for Thibs.
He doesn't play rookies. I agree with Ernest. My thing is, I think because the rookies or that were rookies last year or the previous years are already kind of implemented into this team and this roster, I feel like if you brought in Tom Thibodeau, he would have to adjust and kind of just deal with the roster as is. I feel like just as a coach, he can get more out of a roster, in my opinion. I know Billy does kind of mesh well with younger players. Again, that's going back to the college experience and what he did there. My thing is, I guess it's just getting stale. It's like, why are we running this back?
Tenured head coach in the NBA is crazy.
It's utterly ridiculous. It's like we've gotten nowhere fast. You know, what are we doing? And I do love the name Taylor Jenkins. You mentioned Mike Malone. I feel like Mike Malone's a way better coach than Billy Donovan. Now, of course, I agree.
Terrible rotation.
I agree that some coaches look better because they have superstars that are clearly superstars on their team. You can't deny that, you know, you get a 3-year, 4-year, probably should have been 5-year in a row MVP in Jokic. Yeah, that makes a big difference. Like, the Bulls ain't never had nothing like that. You know, I don't care if you can call Zach LaVine an all-star. That's not the same level, you know. So I agree with that. However, I do think that there are certain coaches that are still out there that are better at just getting the most out of a full team. And that's where I want us to kind of lead to, because we have a young roster, because you have a Modest Buzelis who seems like he's coming to his own. There's articles about him, really putting in the work in the off season, getting stronger.
There's a lot of excitement
he's
around
doing some
Modest right
things.
now.
Io was talking about he's killing like in some workouts and basketball matchups and stuff. So I'm like, hey, let's get excited about this new version of the Bulls. But if you bring them along the same coach and the same teacher, is that voice going to get dry? And that's what I'm also afraid of. Is that same coach going to get the best out of the same players that have been around him for a certain amount of years and kind of know, okay, this is where we're going to end up at the end of the season? Like, you played literally the same team in the play-in the last 3 years. A coach doesn't know how to adjust to that team by the third time by now. Like, you've lost to Miami every single doggone year. What is going on?
I mean, listen, that truly is the case of the coach that it doesn't matter what I have. Like, that truly is that. Like, Eric Spoelstra is a different level of coach. If Eric Spoelstra's on the market, fire Billy Donovan into the sun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a different conversation to have than where Billy is at. Because here's the one thing I will say, and I know, we kind of get stuck in the nuances of it. And by the way, 191. Hello, we got
I'm on now.
and
I'm on
over
now.
100 in a chair.
Hey,
Over 200 in a chair.
okay.
Over 300 in a chair.
All right.
300. Good morning. 191
Good
on
morning.
the YouTube side, 49 likes. Let's get it up over 100 likes on the
Let's do
YouTube side. What we got? We got 129 over on the X side, man. Let's get 100 retweets over on the X side, man.
Yes, sir.
For tuning in and showing love, as always, rocking with us on a fun morning. No, I think the Billy Donovan situation, to me, like, there is an opportunity for all of this to turn, depending on if the reports about Modest and the leap that he has taken from year one to what it seems like is going to be year two are true. And what I mean by that is, we've seen Billy Donovan with superstar players look like the superstar coach. He was the young, fiery coach out of college. Remember, he came in and he was dominating. Everybody was loving it. And it was like, oh my God, this guy gets it. And he lost Kevin Durant. And he brought back Russell Westbrook, and he still was cooking in the playoffs. But everybody was like, he's got Russ. He got Chris Paul and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And it was a team that he shouldn't have been able to beat. And he takes the Rockets to 7. And literally, if Shai was just a little bit older and made the wide open pass, he eliminates the Rockets in the playoffs. Like, there's all these moments of Billy Donovan where I remember being like, man, like the fun, young, good coach that's not going to get the job done, but can take you a long way. I think that he's not young anymore, but I think he can become that again as Modest Buzelis takes this next step, and he can get you to the point that you want to get to, which is right before the championship cusp, where somebody like a Mike Dagnall, who was on Billy Donovan's staff, takes over, and then does get you to the championship, and now is in a dogfight with the Indiana Pacers, who seem like they should be obliterating. But that's neither here nor there. But I look at this as I'm not saying I want to re-sign Billy. I'm not saying that I'm happy that Billy's here. I've been happy that Billy's here for 5 years.
Yeah.
But there is worse out there than Billy, and I say it's a lot of what's on the market right now. That's how I feel about the market right now.
And I hear Steve-O, because that's kind of how I feel. It's like, all that proves why he's better as a coach. I don't want to, almost got to the this and almost got to the that. You can see the potential, yes, and matched up with some of the players that he's had over the years, but almost doesn't win. And I guess my mindset is I want to be past almost. Kind of like how we've had a new day and a new culture, change in the mentality of the Bears. It's like, let's bring in a new type of thinking. None of this middle of the pack stuff where it's like, okay, we're winning when we got some good games. We can see the potential, but then at the same time, it's kind of like, well, it kind of fizzles out at a certain point. Yeah, and of course, I'm not sitting there saying let's just change the coaching staff just to change it. Like, let's change head coach just to change it, because as you mentioned, there's not really that many good names out there. But I mean, if Taylor Jenkins is available,
Jenkins is the one. Jenkins is the one where it's like, I'd restructure my team for that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what do we have to do to make that happen? Like, Is our tour sleeping on his hands? Like let's go. Let's make some phone calls. So if that is the one guy, then let's see where that could potentially line up instead of just going with the easy, oh, let's re-sign it. Now, of course, we know the Bulls and they're the way they do business, they're very loyal. But in my opinion, I think they're loyal to a fault. But of course, we can't change. We know how Reinsdorf does business for the last 1 million years. When you're in with the family, you're a part of the family for life. So it's like I feel like that's what Billy Donovan is. It's like he can do no wrong, and then all these constant under the table deals where we don't realize that he's going to be here for the next 20 years of our existence in Bulls play. So it's like, all right, okay, fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I look at the coaching in the NBA a little bit different. Like, to me, is Billy Donovan Doug Collins? Doug Collins a good head coach. I mean, like Doug Collins a good head coach. You know what happened for Doug Collins' career? One day he got Michael Jordan.
That he did. Yeah.
One day he got Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, Michael, you want to be Michael? All right, you be Michael.
Do you want to be Michael?
And then, you know what I mean? Like, and then Phil Jackson comes in, but Doug Collins had already set you up. He had already gotten you to this point of you were right on the precipice. And if Doug Collins stays with Michael Jordan, does he end up getting a ring? Probably, because Michael Jordan was that good of a player.
I think so. Yeah.
Like, and so I think those are the things where it's like, I'm not saying that Billy Donovan is what I want here, but I don't think a lot of what's out there, like people are yelling for Mike Malone, people are yelling for Mike Budenholzer, and it's like, didn't we see this, dog? Mike Budenholzer goes to Phoenix, he takes over from Monty Williams, they fire him immediately. They're like, oh, this guy sucks too. Like the rings. I'll say this when talking about coaching, one of the most winningest coaches in NBA history. If not, he might be the most winningest coach. George Karl.
Yeah.
I believe he is the most winning coach in NBA history, if I'm not mistaken.
John Nelson, George Karl, or Pop. One of them names.
He's got 1,175 wins. Oh, wow. I'm terribly wrong. He ranks 6. He's top 5. He ranks 6 all time. I thought he was in the league. Hey, okay. That is a good coach. What head coach has the most wins? What NBA head coach?
It might be Pop. I don't know why I was thinking Don Nelson.
Oh, Don Nelson might be. No, it's Pop. Yeah, 1,422 wins. Anyway, I say all that. I say all that to say, George Karl, one of the most winningest coaches of all time. Literally, I have not found a single player who has come out after his career has been over and their career has been over that has said George Karl is a good coach.
Yeah.
That has said George Karl coached something that made me better, or that George Karl did something that made me better, or that he drew up a play that was so perfect on the sideline. In fact, most of the players that talk about George Karl literally go, he didn't have sideline inbound plays.
This guy sucks.
like if we be like,
oh, brother, this guy stinks.
You know what I mean?
Bello did hate Karl. You're right.
I think there is a difference in you had a bunch of wins and this is why you're good, or you got to the playoffs and this is why you're good, versus being a good head coach. You know what I mean? Like that's my point in all that is to say, I think that Billy Donovan is better than what is out there, even though some of what is out there does have rings. But I still would look at Taylor Jenkins a little bit and be like, yeah, but like the extension doesn't surprise me, I guess is my point.
No, that doesn't surprise me at all. No, obviously not, because we talked about this the last time. We thought that Billy Donovan was going to be out the door when maybe there were better options at the time. I believe even before there was maybe that might have been when Monty Williams was available. I believe, but my thing is like, yeah, you kind of know that again. This is how the Bulls operate. You know, they're okay with the comfort zones. They're okay with what they've been used to, and I think just again as a fan base, we shouldn't be comfortable with that. We obviously shouldn't want just to be okay with mediocre. I'm fine with Billy Donovan as his reputation with certain players. Of course, you don't hear other players talk about him in a negative light. Whether it was in college or you hear Noah talking about how great of a coach he was. You hear Chris Paul, you hear Russell Westbrook. Like I believe even what's your boy's name from Chicago? He plays defense. The dog. Oh my goodness. Played with Pat Bev. Yeah, when Pat Bev was here a few years, he said, man, Billy got some plays, man. I just always remember that comment. He said, Billy got some stuff up his sleeve, man. It's real good. Like, players talk highly of Billy Donovan. I'm not sitting here and saying that, he's a trash coach or that, his reputation is the reason why he shouldn't be here. No, I just want better. I just want better.
I think the only way that you could go out there and Levante bringing this up, the only way you go out there and get what maybe is better or maybe is there is you go get a new name.
Rambling,
the Sam Cassell's or I mean, like for real. Sam Cassell been an assistant coach forever. Sam Cassell been an assistant coach probably since he left basketball. But I think that's the only way where you go get something where you're like, oh man, like let's bring in something different, something not a retread, a different name. And like, that's the only way it'd be like, we'll see how this works out versus, you bring in Mike Malone. I'm like, yeah, you'll get some wins, but you probably won't win it all because Jokic. I mean, like there's no Jokic here. Well, Mike Budenholzer, maybe Budenholzer would be interesting if Modest turns into Giannis. Which I have heard the comparison out there. I don't know if that's going to happen, but he's only got to gain a lot of weight. But it's just, I mean, like when you look at those players or those coaches out there, it's like they're all great because of somebody great being with them, which is the case for most NBA head coaches. Doc Rivers was his best when he had KG, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. Big shock.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like those are the things for me where I'm not as bothered by the Billy Donovan thing because it's just I don't think it's you're out there getting absolute champions out here. Even Monty Williams. Monty Williams is probably most praised for his time in Phoenix, but like you had Devin Booker. Makes a big difference versus when you were in New Orleans and you couldn't get it done until you got Anthony Davis.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it makes. I think players paired with really good players, superstar players paired with really good coaches does matter. I think more so the players on the team impact how good of a coach looks. But at the same time, there are just certain coaches where it's like, okay, you can tell that their X's and O's are just a little bit better, and they're on a different level. You mentioned, the Spoelstras and the Budenholzers and the Carlisles. They're not available. They're not available, and they're not going to be available. But I will say this, just as an addition to this topic before we close it out, if Billy Donovan stays here and this offseason goes as what we're hearing about Modest Buzelis, I read an article where it says Io gave him some high praise, and compared him to somebody that, man, if he turns out to be anywhere near him, we got ourselves a obvious star. Says he plays like he could be Giannis, and I'm like, okay, all right, that would be great, but
there's a lot of weight that needs to be added.
I don't see. Yeah, I was gonna say Giannis turned from a little boy into like a grown man overnight. Like he went into the weight room and just stayed there. That was his home. So, and I don't doubt that Modest puts in the work, because that's one of the things that I heard is that he literally is crazy about trying to be the greatest. He wants to be the best. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. He said that plenty of times. I believe it. I can see that he wants to put the work in to be a really, really good player, not just somebody that picks up a basketball and plays a role. Patrick. But my thing is, I'm sorry, P. Will just still bothers me, man.
Oh, P. Will. I thought you were talking about
Patrick
me.
Williams.
I was like, what?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Patrick, the designer. You got so much potential, but you just don't realize it. Please, I'm definitely not talking about you. You've been on the news and Fox 9, the ESPN 1000. What are we talking about here?
Hey,
right?
listen. To the point though. Modest is 10 pounds heavier than Giannis was when he was drafted.
Is he? Oh, Giannis was skinny. Giannis was very skinny. He was. But that's what I'm saying is the potential is there where you could actually have finally a homegrown superstar talent, not going out and get it because we never seem to find it or never seem to be able to trade for one. So maybe Modest is that guy. And now that you've retained Billy, maybe that's where you find your next superstar and the Bulls can actually go further. So we'll see.
We'll see, man. We'll see. Listen, I hope so. I'm excited about what Modest can become. That's about the only thing I'm excited about on this Bulls team.
Yeah.
A little bit about Giddey. Maybe Giddey keeps it up. But listen, I don't know how. Modest, if you can't go work out with Giannis, find out what he did to add. I mean, maybe it was. We all know what can really help with some weight gain. A little bit of pigeon. Little bit of glaze.
I wasn't ready for that.
A little bit of glaze.
Mild sauce glaze on that. On Dave. It's Dave.
Little duck
Dave
sauce
Patrick.
on that. Little turducken sauce on that. That might be what gets them there, man. You got to eat about 600 of them because they're tiny birds.
Steve said, roids. Not birds, roids. Oh, man.
Oh man, but hey man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Maybe he does become Giannis, and none of this at all matters. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page if you have not done so. Leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. As always, man, for Mr. Media himself, George JC, it is your boy Pat the Designer. Back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down. One love. See you. Peace.
Man, see a lot of people loving that Madden simulation we had.
Oh yeah, bro. The Madden sim the Madden sim was phenomenal.
Get
we'll
live reactions. Oh baby, I can't wait for the next game.
I'm actually excited. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Like real talk. It's gonna keep us invested until the real season. We got way too into that game.
I'm actually excited for the second one.
We got to make sure every game is close. I think that's what's going to make it fun. It's like
I don't know how to do that. Like, I'm not controlling. It's a sim. Hey, when we go up against Philly, probably not going to be close.
Oh man, let's see.